ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Retro Warriors episode 493. Woo. As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and as always, I'm joined by Viable Human, Chris Saturn.
Yeah, it's been 493 episodes, and
Yeah.
for a split second there, I almost forgot to woo this time.
So,
Like
I know I've said it a million times. Occasionally, it clips your woo out, and every time I'm like, oh, what's happening? Like I can't. It completely throws off my rhythm.
Yeah, like you were doing the intro, and I was reading the notes and just not paying attention, and I was like, oh shit, it's woo time.
It says pause for woo in the notes every week. It's right there. Housekeeping. Guy is here. He's here at the end of this
for the
episode.
after party, which has always been the name of that segment, and Justin isn't going to try to invent a new one.
He's going to be here either way. so stay tuned. After the ending theme song,
Yes.
our producer Guy will be here. We'll remind you again at the bottom of the hour.
Yes.
Top of the hour? Be the top. Bottom of the hour would be halfway through. So
Yeah,
the top
that's true.
the top of the hour is the
end of the program.
The end of the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, this show that only goes for 1 hour,
Definitely 1 hour
right?
every time.
That's
Never
I don't know if
more.
I've ever said it, but that on the show proper, but that is our runtime. For anyone that doesn't know, when you look down, it's like hour 47 minutes, Final Fantasy 2 Part 2. We schedule an hour.
Well, we estimate an hour. We shoot for an hour. Our goal is hour-ish.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That would be nice. Not 2 o'clock in the morning discussing the finer tail end points of Final Fantasy 2.
Right.
Not that I'm complaining. It was fun, but man, they go so long. It's
Sometimes,
like,
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
And it's
You gotta
always the
get it
ones
all
where
out
we're
there.
like, oh, this will be a short one.
Oh yeah, and then the ones that we think are gonna be long, it's like 59 minutes. And we're like, I guess we're done. Is this it? Anyway, my week. Caves of Cud has consumed many of my hours. It is.
I do want to
what?
let you know that when I was writing the notes, I'd accidentally put all the news in your week first. And I almost didn't move it to where it's supposed to be, just to see if you would
My
then
week.
read it.
I am Ubisoft. Caves of Cud has hit 1.0. I've been playing a lot of it. I've played, maybe 10, 12 hours of it before it hit the 1.0 release when it was in early access. They really have polished a lot of it out, and it really is a really, really good traditional roguelike.
Yeah.
I mostly play on role-playing mode, which checkpoints you in cities. So there's no permadeath. You just, if you die, you go back to the last city you went to, which is nice for, surviving. For people that don't play a lot of roguelikes, many times you'll just be walking. You're like, oh, I guess there was a acid grenade buried in the ground there that someone dropped earlier, and it exploded my torso off.
Yeah.
So I've been playing a lot of the role-playing mode is what they call it. It's still the full same exact game. It just checkpoints you in cities, which has been a lot of fun. I'm getting kind of deeper into the different builds of the game and deciding how I want to play it. Right now, my favorite build is what's called an Esper build. It's like kind of like a mage, I guess. And Caves of Cud thematically is very like a fantasy wasteland, like far-flung future technology mixed with like mysticism and you know what I mean? Like it's the kind of game where there will be like a dragon, but it's a nuclear dragon over an old toxic waste pit or something.
Yeah.
It's very like a Gamma World for anyone that's familiar with that, which won't be Saturn.
Nope. Not me.
I'm trying to think of something else that would be like it.
I get what you're after.
Yeah, but it's great. It's like that kind of science fantasy feel, which is really cool. And Espers are kind of mage-like, and so I have a skill called proselytize, where I can try to convince people to join me.
Yeah.
Instead of having to normally gain their trust. And I had a couple people join me, and I didn't realize that they had their own followers, and when they joined, their followers joined me. So I'm currently walking around this roguelike with a posse of like 12 people.
Nice.
And several of them are like gibbering zealots of whatever religion that one of my followers is. And a few of them are mining robots.
Nice.
And it's become my favorite way to play, is just walking into a screen with 12 individuals bent on doing bodily harm to all the bad guys there.
Nice.
But it's been fun. I will occasionally jump back to the regular mode, the what do they call it? Classic mode, I think is what they call it. And pick some random crazy build. I think the other day I wanted to do one with as many appendages as I could, so I had 2 heads, 2 hearts, 4 arms, 4 legs, and the ability to mutate more legs and arms.
Okay, yeah.
And so that was pretty fun to see how many guns I could hold and still, function and get around.
Nice.
Turns out when you got like 6 legs, you walk real fast.
It's crazy.
But it's real good, man. For anyone that, I don't know, I would say for anyone that like if you like traditional roguelikes, you already own Caves of Qud. It's kind of like the big new release in the genre lately. I'll say that if you have kind of been interested in them, but don't like the super traditional ones and want something with kind of some smoother edges and some checkpointing if you want that. There's even a mode called Wanderer where it's like there's not even any bad guys in the game. Like every faction starts neutral to you. Then it's a pretty cool game.
I do like games with no combat.
Yeah. And I've not tried to play it no combat. I think you would have to, well, I think what would happen was you'd have to play it enough to kind of understand how the factioning system works. And because like anytime you do a water ritual with someone, the faction all shifts around because that's you kind of like, declaring your allegiance to them.
Yeah, I tried to do a water ritual with someone once and I got kicked out of the gym.
Yeah, no, it's not allowed in public spaces here, but in Texas. But yeah, I should mention fresh water is the currency of the game, so it's kind of like a tea ceremony type thing, I guess. But if you kill someone or harm someone you've water bonded with, is what they call it, then immediately everyone in the game fucking hates you.
Yeah.
And you get an achievement called like the worst thing ever or some shit. But it's really fun. I'm really impressed with it. It's a really, really fun, awesome game. It's got decent, not incredible, but decent onboarding. And it's got full workshop support, and a lot of workshop support is centered around adding things like links directly to the Caves of Qud wiki and extensive tutorializing for people that really want to get into the nitty-gritty out of the gate, which is not me. I just want to run into a field and start hitting things with my stick or whatever. I'm very impressed with it in the realm of traditional roguelikes. I also picked up Path of Exile 2 early access. It was kind of making waves because it just hit early access, and it's $30. It is going to be free to play when it launches, in out of early access. But I've been playing that. I'm not deep enough into it to really have an assessment, but I will say I really like what it's doing to the action RPG genre. It adds in WASD for movement. It still has a traditional mouse movement, but because it has a dodging mechanic, you can move with WASD because then you can sort of use your mouse to turn it into almost a twin stick type affair where you're moving with your keys and then pointing yourself with your mouse, and then you know which direction you're going to dodge. So I can be firing one way and then keyed up to dodge the opposite direction, which is a little harder to finagle with just mouse movement.
I could see that.
And I like it. It adds a little bit of a, kind of action game element to action RPGs, which are, very traditionally like stand in one spot and do all your attacks and then see if everything died.
Right.
That's not fair. So they do deal with positioning, but it's kind of cool to have something where like if you're smart, you can defeat tougher stuff because you're able to dodge out of the way. I am playing a witch, which is I have a zoo build, so I just have tons of dudes, minions that follow me around. I'm noticing a theme in all of my playthroughs lately of hordes of minions that do all of the game playing for me while I stand there and shoot laser beams.
Right.
But I'll say this, if you really like RPGs, you play a lot of them like I have, it is a really interesting one where like Diablo 4 felt kind of like it does everything right, but it doesn't seem to really be taking any big chances. Path of Exile 2 feels very much like it's doing everything right, and it's kind of being a little risky. It's kind of being like, hey, let's get a little weird with some of this sort of assumed stuff, which is kind of cool to see. A little bit of movement in either of these genres. So both of these have been exciting me lately. Saturn, what has been exciting you lately?
I don't know if exciting is the word for
What
it.
is so exciting in your life?
I don't think anything has been exciting in my life in years.
Oh no, that's sad.
So, I don't remember if it was the last episode or one before that. I was talking about the PSVR that I got.
Right, and you were fighting with it on
Yeah.
your computer.
So I finally figured out why it was not working right on my computer. So
Okay, yeah, cool.
apparently, I didn't like learn this myself. I stole this information from a forum where somebody else had already done all the troubleshooting.
Right.
But the PSVR 2, each lens, each eye is full 4K resolution
Oh, that's driving a lot of pixels.
at 120 hertz.
Holy shit.
And Steam, by default, will try to output Steam VR at the absolute highest resolution your VR headset can handle.
Ew, so you were bogging all your shit down.
Yeah, so everything was really just collapsing under the weight of it. So somebody online was like, just drop it down to like 40-ish percent, between 40 and 60% max in the Steam VR settings, and it will work fine and you will be able to see it. It'll be okay. And and I tried that, and it still looks great. Like, I honestly would not know that this was running at such a low resolution. It's fine. So I once I did that, I was like, well, now I can actually experience VR on my PC and see how much I won't like this. And so I tried the games that I have first, which was Hellblade. That was it. That was the one. Actually, I also had Shadow of the Tomb Raider, apparently, or Rise of the Tomb Raider supports VR, which I tried to start, and it was like, no, you have to complete the entire campaign on PC first before you can unlock VR mode.
You're like, no, I'm good.
No, thanks.
I'm okay.
I'll pass. I already played through
See
this
ya.
game.
Yeah.
But I tried Hellblade in VR, which is a game I've been meaning to play anyway. I just had never even gotten around to it.
It's been on my short list for ever.
Yeah. So I started it up, and the PSVR 2 has little earbuds attached to it that just like dangle off of the sides of it.
Yeah.
And so I put in the earbuds so that I've got my stereo surround and everything. And
were you fully immersed?
I got to say, that game is an interesting game for stereo to begin with.
Yeah.
Because for people who don't know anything about Hellblade, it is a game about a woman who is suffering from hallucinations and mental health issues.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is auditory hallucinations. So throughout the game, you're just hearing voices, and with earphones in, you get to hear them directly all the time. And that is an interesting experience to begin with, and to also have the VR situation is weird. And it is still a third-person game. It's not a first-person game, which I appreciate. Even in VR, I've learned I still prefer third-person.
First person in VR, like I'm less prone to motion sickness in VR than other people, but if anything's gonna do it, it's first person.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Same here.
Makes me real barfy real fast.
Oh yeah. So it was pretty good. I was enjoying it. It was weird because a lot of the textures are not like, this was effectively a high-end indie game when it came out. Like Hellblade released before Microsoft bought Ninja Theory.
Yeah, it's kind of in that AA game slot.
And so a lot of the textures are relatively low res. And when you're looking at the game in like 1440p, 120 hertz blasted into each of your eyes, those low resolution textures really stand out.
Notice that, yeah.
Which is weird. Like in the intro, she's rowing a tiny boat down a river or something, and she keeps passing all these corpses floating in the water. But the water texture is so low that it looks like they're just sitting on some ugly grass until it starts moving. And I'm like, oh, that's supposed to be water.
Oh, that's water. Okay. Yeah, I'm here for it.
But it was neat. It was a neat experience. I don't know if it's neat enough that I want to play everything in VR, but you know, an occasional game in VR could be neat.
Sure. Sure.
I did learn that if anything is going to make me sick in VR, like you said, first person, and also if I don't crank the AC in my house, because if it is even slightly warm.
Okay. Weird.
One, I start sweating, and two, the headset starts fogging up.
Okay.
And all of that starts to make me feel incredibly nauseous. So I gotta make sure that and since it is winter, my heater kicked on in the middle of me playing shit.
Oh no!
And then immediately started making me feel sick, and I was like, nope, gotta stop now.
Yeah.
But the other game I did try was Sega released a VR version of Space Channel 5 on Steam, and that's neat. It is still just original vanilla Space Channel 5,
but you're in it.
But you have to use motion controls now. And so I've got the little PSVR Sense controllers, which are actually pretty comfortable. I give Sony credit for this.
Yeah.
And I'm having to do that. And in addition to the regular directions and chew, which are your controls in Space Channel, it also has pose. So you have to pose, and I'm doing these stupid poses to beat with the music in order to play Space Channel. And then after I take off my VR headset, I see my cats just staring at me. I'm like, don't judge me.
He's lost it. He's finally lost it.
But I was fine. And of course, Space Channel, originally being a Dreamcast game, is even lower resolution with even worse textures, which looks even stupider in VR.
It's one of those old blocky games.
Yeah, it's an old blocky game. But no, I liked it. But outside of the VR, back in the normal video game space, I picked up Skeletac, which was $2 on the Xbox and PS sale for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 2D platformer where you play as a skeleton, and you are defending the realm of the afterlife against invading humans, and it's very cartoony and cute.
I'm stoked on all of this. I love skeletons.
Oh, yeah.
They're my second favorite monster.
Yeah, it's very cute, very cartoony, very goofy with a dumb sense of humor. It's a weird mix because the sense of humor the game has seems very kid appropriate. Like it's trying to make a game that's okay for all ages.
Yeah.
But then the gameplay is hard as nails. Like as I was leaving the entry little tutorial town area, I was talking to all the different people you can talk to, and one of them is just like this little signpost, and it's like, so far you've died 0 times. You must have just started playing this game. Like, oh, that's not a good sign. That's a warning right there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I start in the first area, there's just like constant instant death spikes everywhere. I'm like, oh, that's the kind of game this is. But it does have like very quick respawn and all that. So it's not like brutal, but it is one of those games that expects you to die a lot.
Yeah.
And it does the thing where every time you die, you lose half of your currency and you have to go recollect it from where you died. And if you die again, it disappears.
It's gone. Yeah.
Fortunately, currency is incredibly abundant so far anyway, from what I've played in the game. But it is frustrating. I would rather that not be part of the mechanic. Maybe there's a difficulty slider where I can turn that off or something that I just haven't looked yet. But it is a charming game. It was weird after I booted it up. I realized it was published by Konami of all people. I didn't realize they were still,
weird,
regularly making these kinds of small games.
Yeah.
But it is cute. It is an adorable game. If you're looking for an adorable, tough as nails platformer where you play as a cartoon skeleton with a fat bat companion, it's pretty good, pretty solid.
I'm down for all of this.
And then also Vampire Survivors.
Yes, continuing.
Still going through the Castlevania DLC. I thought I had reached the end of it because I hit credits and fought a giant boss.
You fool. Why would you ever think
I know. And then it immediately let me know that there was another 48 characters I could unlock. And another 12 weapons and change. And
Vampire Survivors continues to feel like a parody of its own self.
Right? Yeah.
All of the time.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's ridiculous. So I am still chipping away at it, and there's so much Castlevania music in it too. I'm just absolutely loving that. And the mild spoiler for the boss that occurs in the Castlevania DLC is that I don't remember if it was right at the beginning of the boss or near the end. You grab a CD and you immediately hear at least what sounds like the voice actor from Alucard from Symphony of the Night on PS1 say, if you haven't noticed, this is a black bottom disc, and the first track is all data. You shouldn't play it, but you probably won't listen to me, which is, a parody of the track 2 from the PlayStation Symphony of the Night disc, which was already an Easter egg on Symphony of the Night, and they are referencing it as a Easter egg parody in Vampire Survivors Castlevania DLC. It's like 12 steps deep parody Easter egg. So I appreciate that. But it's good.
Again,
I dig it.
Parody of its own self. Let's do some news.
Yes, sir.
There is a surprising amount of it.
Well,
Everyone's got to shove all their news out the door before the end of the year.
Right. Yeah, gotta get all that holiday news out.
First up, multiple studios, including Ubisoft, laid off more than 300 employees 3 weeks before Christmas as a stark reminder that fuck everyone, right?
Yeah, I had heard an interview where some dude was saying that companies like to do their layoffs before Christmas because it gives employees more time to spend with their families.
Fuck off.
Right?
Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
Tencent acquired the rights to Delta Force from Embracer and turned it into a live service game that just launched. So if you loved Delta Force growing up, which I did, then you can see its desiccated corpse hung in the town square for all to gawk at on Steam now.
Hooray. Thanks, Tencent.
Yay. Rumors based on leaked Valve product names claim that a new Steam VR headset, Steambox, possibly running Chrome OS, which doesn't make any fucking sense, and a new Steam controller are all in development. I wouldn't be shocked at any of this except that the Steambox is running Chrome OS, which makes no fucking sense.
What they think is that it might be some variant of SteamOS that uses Chrome OS as its base instead of Arch.
But why deviate when all these eggs are in this basket?
Right. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's still technically Linux. Maybe this is supposed to be purely a Steam Link like box. I could
see that.
Chrome OS for that.
I could see that for sure. For sure. Either way, I like how Valve treats their hardware. I like how long-term they support their hardware. And I like how they deeply discount their hardware when it's getting old and then still continue to support it on the software side for many years after those deep discounts.
Speaking of Valve adjacent hardware, the Hori Steam controller that came out in Japan a little while back.
Yeah.
It had gotten announced for a US release. So I went ahead and grabbed it on Amazon, and apparently it's been delayed indefinitely. They have told me that my order will ship some point in the future, unknown, and you can no longer order them. So I don't know if the Western release has been canceled or not. I'll find out if they cancel my order.
Weird. Very weird. I mean, either way, like their VR headset was pretty successful. A new Steambox would be cool, even if it is just like Steam Link 2.0. Yeah. And I really liked the Steam controller for Edge. Like the Steam controller was like, this is the controller that plays the games and does the shit that no other controller can.
Right.
But if you're playing a regular game, you just want a regular ass controller.
Yeah, it's really solid for things like Civilization or SimCity.
Yeah, 4X games in particular. I played a ton of Warhammer Gladius, which is a 4X, with that thing. Like if you're just playing slower strategy affairs, it's fantastic for that.
It's not great for games that are designed around a gamepad.
No, they work.
Yeah,
but it's not awesome.
No.
Not awesome. Itch.io says their website was pulled down because the registrar received an AI-generated phishing report from Funko. Also, I saw reports that one of the people that ran Itch, their mother got a call from Funko.
Yeah.
Which is what was reported. And it was restored shortly thereafter, and Funko was like, oops, sorry, we like Itch. We didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
Which is just terrifying that this kind of thing can be done
after it was made public that it happened.
Yeah, it's terrifying that this kind of thing can just accidentally happen. Like, what the fuck?
I feel like a lot of that is a failing on the registrar's part too, to just receive whatever complaint this is and be like, okay.
Well, yeah, because it came from a corporation. Yeah. So, fuck everyone. This corporation has a complaint.
Yeah. Well, the corporate's legal team has a complaint.
Right. Yeah. Well, the AI currently running their legal team had generated a complaint. Ziff Davis's IGN's Humble Bundles Humble Store accidentally listed the new Indiana Jones game for sale at $0.
Hey, that's a pretty good price.
The listing was quickly taken down and the games were removed from buyers' Steam libraries. Pro tip for people that don't know this, this is why it's important that if you're buying your Steam games from key shops and stuff, that you get it from a reputable one. Your Steam games can be revoked after you've redeemed the keys.
Correct.
It doesn't happen very much, but it is possible, and Steam reserves that right for games that they consider to have been obtained illegitimately or things that the publisher requests get revoked.
And this is more likely with the bigger games or the more expensive games than it is with, like, if you got a key for a $2 indie game, it's unlikely that's going to be revoked.
Yeah.
But it could be.
But it is the thing, just because it's in your Steam library doesn't mean you own it.
No.
And Steam has reminded us of that with their, terms they recently came out with.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Accessory makers Satisfy with a Y and Dbrand have completely leaked the physical dimensions of Nintendo's next hybrid device, the Switch 2 monikered device. It is a little bit bigger than the Switch, and it's very Switch-like. So
and it looks like the Joy-Con are attached by magnets now.
Yeah, nobody is shocked.
No.
RPCS 3 now fully supports ARM64 devices, including the Raspberry Pi 5, which is a great step forward for the PS3 emulator. I'm very excited to see that.
Doesn't run super well on the Pi 5, but it does run on
but it's the first baby step.
Yeah, their main showcase was on the Snapdragon Windows machines and on the Apple Silicon Macs. It runs full speed there.
But cool to see.
Yeah.
One of the two PC-88 CD-ROM games that were previously thought to have never been released, Dios by Zanesoft, has been found and preserved.
Now, specifically, this is the one of the two that was thought to have never been released. The other game we knew was released.
Yes.
This game we thought was just advertised and never released, but it has been found now.
Excellent.
It's pretty crazy that there were only ever 2 CD games released on the PC-88, though.
Yeah, that's it's a lot of effort to only have 2 games on your platform.
It wasn't that much effort because the PC-88s that support it just had an empty bay that you could put a CD drive in. And and the only drive that fit there was the one from the PC Engine. So you just took your CD drive out of your PC Engine and just slotted it into your PC-88, and then you could play one of these 2 games.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. German techno artist Remute has released his newest album, Digital Bubble Bath, on a DS cartridge, which...
Okay,
cool. They're pretty abundant. There's tons of DS bootlegs floating around out there. Cool. I'm down for this. Let's get weird.
Yeah, whatever.
Why not? Sure.
I think he said it was also released on Bandcamp.
Yeah, I imagine if you buy the DS game, you get the MP3s as well. I can't imagine that he's like, no, it's locked to the DS cartridge. That would be fucking weird.
That'd be dumb.
Majora's Mask has been fully decompiled, and the decompilers intend to release the game after bug fixing and other preliminary work. This is continuing.
To the Ocarina of Time decompilation.
Yep. So this is all very exciting. I love to see these. I love these N64 games in running natively on PC. Mario 64, Ocarina of Time are great fun on PC, and they look so much better.
Yeah. That ship of Harnikin, whatever it was. That is supposedly going to allow for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in one executable.
So even better. Even better. Yeah. This is very exciting news. I love seeing this. For people that haven't had the pleasure of enjoying some of these decompiled N64 games running natively on PC, they are fantastically fun.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're still N64 games though, so
yeah. I mean, there's it's still Nintendo's first crack at 3D on a lot of the. It is what it is. But I think I'll say this: it's one of the more enjoyable ways to play these games, I think, is
certainly better than playing on an N64.
Mario 64 at full native 4K on my 65-inch television with a regular-ass controller and regular-ass controls and camera controls and stuff. It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Something that the company that owns Mario, are they still around? They should have done that.
No.
Are they? I mean, they can't. They can't.
They're still around.
So long
I think they
ago.
make Pokemon cards now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, if they ever get the rights for Mario back, they should definitely do like a full, re-release
What
of
if
Mario
instead of that, they just did a basic emulation?
Why would they fucking do that? We all have emulators already.
Because it's cheap.
That'd be the stupidest thing ever. That'd be as stupid as making it physically limited. Like, just make as many as you want. Like, why would
also
you limit
digitally
that?
limited.
Why would anyone do that, Saturn? That's the dumbest thing. No company is that fucking stupid and hates money that much. This is ridiculous.
Who would do that?
Nintendo has acquired Xeno developer Monolith Soft. Shocking nobody. I think they already owned like a bunch of Monolith Soft, didn't they? Is that what it was? And they just kind of
grabbing the rest of it.
Yeah. Google is training its Gemini AI to create video game tutorials, and I wish it wouldn't because Gemini sucks. Just stop.
You see the proof of concept on this?
No, how bad was it?
Showing you how to play Clash of Clans.
Fuck off. The worst part is I can just go ask ChatGPT how to play Clash of Clans, and it'll give me pretty good information already. I don't need.
Yeah, but this is creating video tutorials too.
That's worse.
Yeah.
I hate this. I hate it.
Well, it is Google doing it, so they probably know exactly how much traffic the YouTube videos of this generate.
Well, I was going to say, what about the, 900 terabytes of Clash of Clans tutorial videos that already fucking exist inevitably on YouTube? Why do we need
this
AI-made versions
of Gemini? Do you really think Google won't put this at the very top of the search results every time?
Look, as long as I get to pay extra money for an AI processor in my next machine, I'm on board.
Sir, they call them neural processing units.
Oh, my God.
That's an NPU.
Look, if we're going to fucking live in cyberpunk, then I get a laser sword. So either give me a laser sword or fuck off with this shit. Those are your options.
Yeah. No, they've chosen neither of those.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
I get a cool motorcycle and a light up sword. That is the rules of living in cyberpunk.
You just get Windows 11 with Copilot AI.
This is the worst fucking version. The worst version of reality. Microsoft has added over 300 mostly shovelware and then nothing.
Games to the Xbox PC store.
Games to the Xbox PC store, which nobody uses.
A lot of them, most of them actually, are cross-buy Play Anywhere with Xbox. And if you already bought them on Xbox console, you just immediately get them for free.
Well, that's nice. Xbox okay. PC. All right. That's not too bad.
I opened the app and immediately had a much larger library than I did before.
Yeah, well, that's something.
Yeah.
That's something. Tetris DX for Game Boy Color was added to Nintendo Switch Online alongside NES Tetris right after the release of Tetris Forever, which I can't tell if that's them trying to get on the bandwagon or saying fuck you to Digital Eclipse. I'm not sure.
I think it might be more that the Tetris company is just trying to make it all available.
Okay, I like that narrative better. Sure.
Yeah.
That's true. They would have had to, huh? Yeah. So, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And the 2024 Keighley Awards happened.
Hooray.
The things where we get to watch a bunch of commercials, and then Jeff Keighley shows up and he goes, okay, so best game of the year is this, and then the indie game of the year is this, and the best soundtrack is this. Anyway, here's some more commercials. Yeah. And then Hideo Kojima comes out on stage and is like, games are cool. And then that's basically it.
I don't think Hideo Kojima says that. He mostly just fluffs himself while he's up there.
We for people that don't hang out in our Discord, we always do a chat, like we always hang out and chat and watch it together.
Yeah. Hate watch it.
And this time, a large portion of it was just you and me in all caps cussing out Randy Pitchford.
It wasn't a large portion of it. It was just while he was on stage.
Well, really, anyone. It was just like, boo, fuck this person. But when Randy Pitchford came out, it was the whole chat was all caps, and it was like, eat shit, Randy, get fucked. I was cracking up all night over it.
I also noticed that, so every year, for some inexplicable reason, he has Muppets at these fucking shows.
Yes.
And the Muppets that he had this year was Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf,
who were, for some reason, making our jokes for us. Like, all the jokes we make about the Game Awards, they had
some pretty good fucking zingers, man. They really did.
Yeah.
Kudos to that one.
Yeah, I give them credit for finally saying what we're all thinking. But if they know that these are valid criticisms, why do they keep doing it?
I don't know. And to because we're not going to talk too much about the Keighley Awards, the Game Awards, as they're colloquially known, because a lot of it's modern stuff. But I will say they did respond to the criticism of all the layoffs and trouble in the industry by they had a few moments where they addressed the turmoil in the games industry.
They also gave an award to a gentleman who tries to help game developers find new jobs, which was very cool. Unfortunately, the internet then decided to be the internet and start attacking that gentleman. Which is
so that was disappointing. But then of course, it's all sandwiched in between commercials for Elden Ring DLC. So it's. Some of it feels like crocodile tears. That guy seemed legit, but then,
props to that dude. I hope
seemed like their token legit person. His name was Amir, something. I forget the rest of his name.
That's unfortunate because I also forgot.
I meant to write it down. I was unfamiliar with him beforehand. There you go. I was unfamiliar with him beforehand, so it's but he seemed genuine.
Yeah, he seems like a really nice guy, and I am glad he received an award. It sounds like he deserves it.
So we're going to fire through the retro
adjacent
relevant announcements. First up, Ninja Gaiden Rebound, an all-new 2D game in the series from the developers of Blasphemous. I'm down for this. It looks like very
really
classic Ninja Gaiden, so awesome.
Right. The art style looks good, too. So.
Double Dragon Revive, which we really didn't see much of in the way of what kind of game it is. I'm presuming a brawler, but it wasn't really...
looks like a 3D fighting game from what they were showing.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, but it looked ugly.
It did look ugly. Not as ugly as Double Dragon Neon, which was pretty fucking ugly. But ugly, yeah. Onimusha Way of the Sword. New Onimusha. They must listen to our episode, and they're like, we should do another one of those.
Yeah.
And so they slapped one out in a couple months.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, they were like, shit, let's put this together real fast.
Untitled Okami sequel, which I think the title should be Okami 2, I think would be.
Well, Okami Den was the second game.
Oh, well, Okami 3? Just call it 3?
Well, then they never had a 2.
Well, but there was Den.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean 2.
It was Okami First Blood, and then later they renamed this. Also, Untitled Virtua Fighter sequel, which looks cool. I'm not a huge Virtua Fighter fan, but I kind of like, I'm excited to see more of it. I've played some Virtua Fighter that I enjoyed. I think, what was the last one? 5?
I think 5. I don't think there was a 6. If there was a 6,
5 was pretty fun. And then Shadow Labyrinth. A grimdark 2D search action game with strong Hollow Knight vibes where you can transform into a giant Pac-Man and gorily devour your enemies.
I'm so stoked for this.
I don't know what fucking AI slop generated the bingo card that created this game, but I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
This is the weirdest shit.
Yeah, I don't know what weird drugs they fed the people at Bandai Namco for this to happen, but I'm glad they discovered them.
It's just like seeing like grim dark, like witchy looking blood soaked backgrounds with a little Pac-Man bouncing around behind this dude.
Oh, it's so great.
I can't even really tell much about the game, but I'm down for it. Whatever it is.
I hope that this succeeds just enough that a bunch of other retro game holders decide to do something stupid like this. I absolutely want to see a new Bubble Bobble where, like, after they blow the bubbles, they then like gorily devour people. This is the future of gaming I want.
My fear is the lesson they're going to learn if this ends up being a good game that people like is people want grimdark versions of stuff and we get Bomberman Act 02 or some shit.
Konami
like, no.
Certainly
not like that. Not like that. Different than that.
I'd be okay with a Bomberman Act 02 if it still has like the cartoony pyramid head from the most recent Bomberman game.
There you go. Which brings us to our topic at hand, which, surprise, surprise, 2024 in review. These are our last 2 episodes we're recording of the 2024 calendar year. Yep. And as usual, we've copped out and we're doing a year in review, and you'll never guess what our next episode is. I'm not going to announce it here. I'm going to be a surprise.
Yeah, we want to
for synopsis, Saturn wrote, 2024 is so retro right now.
Yeah.
I was expecting 222.4, honestly.
Well, this isn't a sequel episode, so we can't do that.
As far as the scope, let's see what nihilistic shit did Saturn right here. It's time once again for us to forget what happened this year or what happened before this year because time is meaningless and we're all sailing inexorably toward the future.
That could be optimistic.
Oh, man. Look, I know that Silent Hill set a tone for the show, but I think we can, like, pull up out of the nosedive a little bit. I don't know.
You watched that Mitchell and Webb look. Do you remember that one sketch where the dude is hosting the quiz show and then like it slowly reveals that it's just him and the 2 contestants on a freighter flying into the sun? Like nobody is watching it. He's just doing it for himself because he's a wealthy billionaire who decided he wanted to kill himself by sailing these people into the sun and forcing them to do trivia.
Weirdly feeling too real right now in 2020. Weirdly too real.
A little too real.
As far as initial thoughts, my tongue no longer works. This was a year. It's almost over, and congratulations.
We did it.
Yay!
This was
This
was a year where we continued to see some layoffs, just like last year. An unfortunate number of them, and not just in the video game space either.
No.
Worldwide, we saw a lot of companies embracing layoff culture.
Yeah.
But we also saw
Yeah.
some good games this year.
Sure, there was some good shit. We're going to go through a lot of stuff. Saturn very helpfully put together several pages of what happened this year because I don't fucking remember.
We also saw, this was the year that I feel like the PS5 and the Series X finally got a chance to stretch their legs a little bit.
It's funny. It feels so weird. And I know it's COVID. I know COVID is what did it. But it feels like the PlayStation 5 and the Series X just came out.
Yeah.
And this also feels like this because when consoles come out, not all of them, but a lot of the time it's like that first year it feels like it's kind of not really out. It's hard to find. There's not a lot of games for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't adopting the new hardware yet. People are still playing on the old platforms. And really the second year feels like the first real year of it being out. This feels like the first This feels like the first real year of the Series X and the PS5 being out and people getting them and enjoying them. And they're like, we're talking about the PlayStation 6 any minute now. And I'm like, what do you fucking mean the 6? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we need a new console for another 3-4 years. Easy. But it has been a little more emphasis on some exclusives on these new systems. I don't know that I've seen too much yet that really showcases this must be on the new systems yet, but we're getting there. That's been something we have seen this year.
Yeah. Let's do some industry stuff.
Okay.
And then we'll get into more specific kind of game stuff, and then just talk about random things that happen.
Yeah.
You already touched on it, but layoff culture continued.
Yeah.
We have continuing layoffs at Microsoft, EA, Sony, Unity, Twitch, Discord, Riot, Embracer Group, Sega, Take-Two, Sumo, and Bungie.
Yeah.
Studios include Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Games, Roundhouse Studios, Tango Gameworks. They were all closed by Microsoft. Tango was saved later on. Ready at Dawn Studios was closed by Meta.
Yeah.
A lot of consolidation, a lot of stuff shutting down, a lot of turmoil, a lot of people losing jobs.
Yeah.
And this is all tied to the kind of slow, fiery decline of games journalism that's already sort of been going.
That's unfortunately happening simultaneously to a lot of these companies hitting record profits, which is extremely frustrating.
Yeah, it's almost like they're having to do some kind of tricks to hit these record profits.
That's crazy.
And it's setting up a house of cards that will inevitably come tumbling down when they run out of people to lay off and ways to continue reporting record profits.
Well, they're just counting on the AI to fill in the place of all these employees.
Because there's only two things can be true.
Yeah.
Either you've got record profits because of all these layoffs, and this is the pennies you're shaving off to make it still look that way.
Yeah.
Or you're faking it.
Yeah. Or you're hitting record profits and laying off everybody anyway just because you want more money.
Because you can't. I can think of no option where corporations aren't kind of being assholes right now. I know we've gotten some minor flack lately for our stance on corporations, but when they quit screwing us, I'll quit complaining.
When they stop being assholes. Well, and there are companies that we are nice to because they are generous either to their employees or to their customers or both.
And because I don't know that it needs to be said, and I don't think it should have to be said, but corporations aren't your friend.
No.
I feel like we are, when corporations do good things, we praise them.
Yeah.
When they do bad things, we complain. We say a lot of nice stuff about Valve. We still have some complaints about Valve, but on the whole, I like how they run their business.
Yeah.
I generally enjoy their products. I enjoy how they do stuff.
They're generally pro-consumer, and we haven't heard too much anti-employee that they've done. So
totally. So I'm down for that.
We were extra nice to Sega for a long time there when they were being very pro-consumer for a long time, and lately they've been kind of
dialed it back,
being a little weird, but
dialed it back. Yeah. Speaking of corporations, have you heard of this company Disney? They're the ones that made Mickey Mouse.
What's something else they've made?
They own Steamboat Willie.
No, not
the Goofy movie.
Oh, those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. The one with Howie Mandel eating the cheese whiz. Yeah, Black Cauldron people.
Gotcha.
Disney bought $1.5 billion worth of Epic.
Oh.
Which means that
purchase. Oh,
which means that Disney is now in the arena fighting against Google and Apple.
yeah.
Which is an interesting place for them to be.
It's a weird dichotomy there.
Just kind of putting that out there. Relic Entertainment went independent from Sega, which we like. That's good. I like Relic Entertainment. I'm excited for them to make more stuff. I like most of the stuff they've made. Except the new Company Heroes, I think apparently sucked. I didn't pick it up. Company Heroes 3, maybe it's one of those games that came out to bad reviews, and I was like, I'll wait till they fix it. Relic might fix it. Toys for Bob split from Microsoft Activision. Saber Interactive was sold by Embracer. Private Division was sold off from Take-Two, so just kind of some movement there.
Yeah, nice to see some companies splitting away from the giant megacorps instead of being absorbed into them.
Stuff's not peeling away as fast as it's getting hoovered in, but it's something. Embracer announced that they'd split into 3 companies or some shit like that. No one really fucking knows what the fuck they're doing. Embracer, like, I don't remember all the details,
but one called Middle Earth Enterprises.
Yeah, because they own the rights to Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Do they not? Or some of the rights, specific ones? I don't know, man. Embracer was this company that, like, I credit to us. I feel like we were skeptical of Embracer from the get-go. Yeah. Because they came out of the gate wanting to be like, we're the company for gamers. We have a big gaming library. We care about gamers and gaming. They bought a bunch of shit up and went, oh, fuck. I don't know. Let's just do normal corpo shit now.
Yeah.
Well, they
bought all that shit up expecting to be bought out by that Saudi group, and then when the deal fell through, they were like, oh shit, we can't afford any of this anymore. Just fucking milk it.
And so that, I don't know. I have problems with Embracer. Yeah. They're kind of problematic.
Oh yeah.
Atari revived the Infogrames label for some indie games. Yeah. So I don't know what the fuck is happening at Atari. They've got like somewhere there's a corp.
They changed management not long ago.
Like somewhere there's an Atari corporate headquarters with human beings that work there. Yeah. What does this look like?
What is
it? You know what I mean?
First of all,
like what is going on?
So they changed corporate management at some point in the last couple of years, and since then, whoever has taken over Atari seems to care about video games. That's interesting.
Right.
That's a different take for Atari. 2, they seem to have some respect for their legacy franchises, which also strange. And 3, they seem to be partnering up with companies that also have respect for their legacy franchises. So we've been seeing some really different, like for people your age and younger, you've never seen Atari care about games, which is very strange.
No. And, Atari was that company that was from a long time ago and was releasing weird jewel case CD-ROM versions of Centipede that you could buy.
Like there was that brief era where Atari was putting out Drive 3R and Matrix games where they looked like they were trying to make video games.
There was a couple. I think they published like Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. Was that one?
A whole bunch of Dragon Ball games, and
there's a few things here and there, but it was just like it felt like a shell. It was just like, oh, this is just the name of the company. Right. It's not really the Atari.
Yeah, and now they're trying to do Atari stuff again, like the 2600 plus and the 7800 plus and the
the 50th anniversary stuff that they've been releasing. They're doing Atari
cartridges for their classic consoles and new accessories for their classic consoles. Just very strange stuff, which I'm not complaining about.
No,
but it's just weird. It's weird coming from this Atari.
It is weird. My concern is that Atari nostalgia does not run as societally deep as a lot of the other. Specifically, right now, I think. Early 3D nostalgia is what's super hot. Yeah, what was that article someone posted the other day, and it was from like The Verge or some shit, and it was like, is the N64 the greatest console of all time? And you're like,
the answer is no.
No, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, that is the era that is peak nostalgia, and has been for a couple of years now.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like if Jack Tramiel had done something different with Atari when he bought the company, it could still be the cultural zeitgeist it once was.
Sure.
No, not anymore, because they fucked it up.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think if they have realistic market expectations, I would love to see them just releasing kind of like a weird moderately successful, like retro-y stuff. I think they could totally, And I'm still waiting on that Atari coin cryptocurrency to come out any day now. And the casino, right? Yeah. The casino that will run on Atari coins.
I think both of those were canceled by the new management.
Ridiculous.
I know, it's crazy. They licensed the A400 Mini officially, whereas the C64 Mini and the Amiga Mini and all that were not officially licensed. The A400 Mini, Atari let them put their name on it and everything.
And they acquired Intellivision.
Which is also strange. Shit. And they are not releasing the Amico. It's crazy.
Shock. Take-Two acquired Gearbox from Embracer. Randy Pitchford is very excited, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come out on stage and we can boo him some more.
That means that Gearbox is back under the same roof as Borderlands again.
Yep.
So they immediately started working on a new Borderlands game.
Yeah, instantly. Borderlands 4, here you go.
Yep.
I already saw an article that was like, Randy Pitchford says that if Borderlands 4 says skibbity toilet, he'll kill himself or some stupid shit like that.
Okay.
And he was basically just complaining about the state of Zoomer humor. And I'm like, this is the market your games should be catering toward, my dude.
These are the people you need to buy your product, dude.
Like it's I don't know. 600 Activision employees joined CWA in March, the largest U.S. unionization move yet in the industry. In July, a further 500 Blizzard employees joined CWA. This is excellent moves that we want to see more of.
Granted, this only happened because Microsoft is legally obligated to do so. As part of the terms of the Activision Blizzard purchase, they had to allow these unions to form, which, great, if that's what it takes.
If this is how we have to get there, because they're going to buy that shit. Either they're going to, this is the thing, these mega corpos, they're going to make it happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And whatever pork we can get thrown in there, we got to take it, and so it just kind of is what it is. But, Argonaut Games, developer of Star Fox and Croc and a bunch of other notable shit, was relaunched by original founder Jez San.
Yep.
Which, cool. I wish them the best.
Yeah.
I hope that they've retained some of that original Argonaut talent because they were very... Oh, okay. Well, I hope they were... Retained the name?
Yeah, from what I was reading, it was just Jez and a lot of the other former staff were like, I hope he's not planning on using our names. Granted, that was back when it was first announced, so maybe things have changed since then. And also, the only product I've heard announced from them is that remaster of Croc.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
More kind of game specific stuff. Zooming in a little bit, we're going to fire through here. Online services for Wii U and 3DS ended April 9th. We'd known it was coming for a long time. Still sad to see it. Game Informer ended their production. Website was immediately deleted, and the staff were prohibited from commenting on the matter online. Which
that's a professional way to do it.
Holy shit! We said it on the show. Like, no one's gonna really miss Game Informer, but what a shitty way for a long-running outlet like that to be shut down.
It's funny that happened not long before this whole EGM Kickstarter hit like record numbers.
Yeah. The Nintendo Museum opened in Japan, which is neat. I'm kind of shocked they didn't have one already.
I think Super Nintendo World also opened in Japan this year. I forgot to put
I believe you're correct, yeah. Sony released a live service game that lasted less than a month.
What was the name of it?
I've utterly forgotten.
I think.
Even if you said it, I wouldn't know it.
What's great is how weeks before it released, they had shown that trailer for it during their Naughty 3 State of Play, which was like a 15-20 minute deep dive trailer that showed their Marvel Cinematic Universe quality Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff characters being introduced and just the worst possible writing. And then they showed the gameplay and everything. And there's this super long deep dive to the point where I was like, are they still showing this game? And then it launched, and 3 weeks later they pulled it from the market, and then they shuttered the studio that made it and canceled all future development of it. Just what a giant waste of money.
I feel bad for the many artists that wasted their time working on that project. My hope is that as we see more of these flops like this, less companies are willing to bank on big live service games.
I hope so, but I am losing faith in that.
I think because I think what a lot of them are hoping for is the potential of these live service games is GTA 5. That's the potential, but then the potential for failure is so much greater. And I'm hoping some of them start taking the safe bets of more Hellblade-sized experiences that are more moderately priced, that will make less money, but will be safer bets.
And I think a lot of them forget that GTA 5 was a more or less guaranteed success, just built on the legacy of Grand Theft Auto as a franchise.
And also still had a celebrated single-player campaign in it.
Yeah, GTA Online was just kind of stapled onto that. It wasn't just, a thing that just appeared. And things like Fortnite were just kind of a surprise success. So when they pour so much money into it in advance before they know if it's going to be a success, I feel like that's just a recipe for failure.
Yeah. It seems obvious.
Yeah, to us.
We're going to skim through some of these. A bunch of retro handhelds came out. A 13-year-old hit the NES Tetris kill screen, which is cool. Sony did their 30th anniversary release shit and released 10 of everything.
Apparently a lot of it's getting restocked, which I did not expect.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Not the PS5 Pro, but everything else is getting restocked, which is surprising.
Well, good. You know what? Good. Sega celebrated the 30th anniversary of the Saturn and 32X by letting other people remember the Saturn and 32X. And then before we get into just individual stuff that released, that there's a lot, we're going to skim through a lot of it.
Yeah.
We're going to have the let's feel old moment of the show.
Yes.
And I'm going to go through this backward.
Okay.
Because I think that's what makes me feel the oldest.
All right.
Things celebrating their 20th anniversary. 20th anniversary.
Mm-hmm. I could have done 15 and 10, but I chose not to because those didn't feel old enough to me yet.
Nintendo DS, PSP, Katamari Damacy, Far Cry, Red Dead Revolver, and Fable are 20 years old this year.
Yeah, we're 20 years old. They're going to be 21 going into 25.
Fucking shit.
Yep.
25 years old, the Wonder Swan, the Western release of the Dreamcast, Super Smash Brothers, EverQuest, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Team Fortress, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and Shenmue.
Yes.
30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
These are 30 years old now. You wrote Saturn. I think what you meant was the Sega Saturn.
Yeah, that's true.
The Sega
I am
Saturn.
older than 30 years old.
The PlayStation 1, the 32X, Earthbound, Elder Scrolls, XCOM, Daytona USA, Super Game Boy, The Need for Speed, and System Shock.
Yeah.
We got 2 more of these. Everyone strap in. If you're driving your car, maybe pull over. If I'm reading these and they make you feel old, just, it's good to have life insurance policies at a certain stage in life. You need to start thinking about these things.
Yeah, better start making your funeral arrangements.
The Atari Lynx, the Game Boy.
Years old.
35 years old, pardon me. 35 years old. The Atari Lynx, the Game Boy, the Western release of the Genesis, TurboGrafx in the West, Golden Axe, SimCity, River City Ransom, Mother 1, Prince of Persia, and Final Fight are 35 years old this year.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, 40 years old, Over the Hill.
Yeah.
The Dragon Slayer series, Punch-Out Arcade, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Marble Madness. If you feel old because I said these are 40 years old, please get your prostate checked. It's probably time for you. If you haven't done it, don't wait. It's important. Make it part of your checkup this year, which you should be getting. Take care of yourselves,
Of those 4 things, 2 of them are still in active production, too.
That's true. That's true.
We just got a new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We got a new Trails game in the Dragon Slayer series this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's absurd that 40 years later those are still going, but they are.
2 years from tonight, we're going to be talking about how the Wii is 20 years old.
That is true. Correct. Yeah. Also that year, the PlayStation 3 will be 20 years old.
We're done. We're moving on. Let's talk about TV.
Next year when we do this, we'll get to talk about the Xbox 360 being 20 years old.
Let's talk about TV. TV shows based on games that came out. I'm just going to talk about the ones I watched. I watched some of Knuckles with Idris Elba with the Kusel show, and it was pretty good. Pretty good show.
I watched none of these, so I just put them in here because they happened.
I watched the Fallout show. Really good. Really enjoyed the Fallout show. I thought it was very well done. I just love Walter Goggins. He's fucking fantastic. I love that guy in everything he's in. I think my favorite role for him was because he plays the perfect asshole. He's so good at just being an asshole.
Yeah.
And Walter Goggins as the ghoul was outstanding.
Yeah.
My favorite role of him was in Vice Principals with Danny McBride, where he's just a fucking asshole. He's so great at it.
I had originally put the Last of Us on here, and then I looked it up and realized that show aired almost 2 years ago now.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, we're waiting for The Last of Us remastered to come out.
Yeah, The Last of Us Part 1 remastered TV show.
Like a Dragon, I think we have to mention just because we both like the Yakuza games. I've not watched it yet. I heard it was just kind of middling.
Bad.
So I'm like, all right. Movies based on games. I didn't see the Borderlands movie, but I love how it just was a shit show.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess.
I haven't seen Sonic 3. I saw the first two Sonics, but I haven't seen Sonic 3. I'm excited for it because
I think it either comes out this week or it came out last week. So
the first Sonic movie was like, this is minimum level acceptable.
Yeah.
The second Sonic movie was pretty good. It's a pretty good, funny movie.
As of our recording, it comes out tomorrow.
Okay, so I haven't had the opportunity yet. I mean, I wouldn't see it in the theaters anyway. I get it on home video, which is still what it's called. I don't care what anyone fucking says. It's a video I watch at home. Everyone shut up. Major new game releases this year. I'm just going to cover stuff I played. Balatro, I played. Unicorn Overlord, I bought but didn't play. Princess Peach Showtime, I picked that up for my daughter, and she enjoyed that a good bit.
Nice.
Ayuden Chronicle was a flop for me, I think. Kind of a flop for you.
Yeah, I haven't really given it enough of a shot to say, but it didn't grab me immediately.
Peglin, I think we both enjoyed Peglin. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, I don't think either of us has even booted it up yet.
No, I beat it. I talked about it on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Because you were like, it's fine. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've totally forgot. Visions of Mana, also on my short list. I'm like, we're just going to talk about the ones we played, and then here's our wish lists.
Yeah, I picked up many of these. I didn't get a chance to play too many of them yet, though. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is, it's good. It's Like a Dragon. It's going to be one of those. I've not played as many of these as I wanted to, though. Astrobot was fantastic. Just a great game. Phenomenal game.
Animal Well is still on my short list. I hear it's really good.
Yep.
Caves of Cud 1.0, I put that on the list because that is a major release in my world, in my little indie roguelike PC world that I live in. Yep. It is the biggest release. It's up there with Dwarf Fortress for me. It's really high up there.
Basically the biggest games in the world.
Metaphor ReFantazio kind of came out of nowhere and scooped up a lot of the JRPG and Persona crowd, and it's not for me,
by
but
the Persona people. So
right, yes, the same people. But I kind of like I'd heard about it, and I kind of expected it to just sort of come and go, and it's people seem to be really enjoying it. So
feels
I'm
like
excited to see.
Persona 5 was big enough that it created a whole new fan scene around Persona. So pretty much anything Persona that comes out gets some attention now.
Hardware-wise, Apple Vision Pro came out. Atari 400 Mini came out, and I think is still available.
Yes, it is.
Along with the Atari 7800 Plus. They're both on sale. They're both just a little expensive for me.
They're both on sale right now. And they're close to the prices where I'm considering them. The 7800 I've pretty much written off, though, because both the 2600 Plus and 7800 Plus cannot play Pitfall 2, and that's a deal breaker for me. Pitfall 2.
Retro style stuff, Euphoria.
You missed the PS5 Pro.
Oh, PS5 Pro. I didn't miss it. Euphoria 2 came out. You picked that up, didn't you?
Yes. I'm going to talk about that next episode.
There was that new Contra, Operation Galuga.
Yep. I didn't get a chance to play it yet, but I did pick it up.
Nintendo World Championships NES Edition came and went and was not the zeitgeist Nintendo seemed to want it to be. No. I think the problem was people like you and me were like, this isn't NES remix, you fuckers, and we just immediately were done with it.
Yep.
In the remasters realm, Persona 3 Reload came out and seemed to get some criticism. It's the first thing that's come out with a Persona label that seemed to, a lot of people were like, I don't fucking know about this, and they had like a DLC for it, and they had I think they had a season pass for it, and people were kind of like, why the fuck are you monetizing it this way, which is kind of lame.
In fairness, is that any worse than how they normally monetize Persona, where they just re-release the full game at full price 2 years later with some DLC attached to it?
I don't know. I guess I think about it differently because the PS4 Golden and the or Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal, those versions of the games were so celebrated that I don't know enough about them. I just assumed that they were pretty good deals because everyone's usually like
Persona 3 got the FES remaster or
re-release
on
PS2.
It seems since Persona 3 they just re-released them a couple of years later with some extra stuff, but it's still a full-priced game. And Persona 3 Reload, for once, they re-released all that stuff as DLC, and people seemed very upset about it.
Yeah. Silent Hill 2, that was a big one for you.
Yes.
Romancing Saga 2 came out. It's on my shelf. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake, also sitting on my shelf. I fucking forgot about Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on Switch. Like, what a weird... Just came and went.
Yeah.
Emulation collections. I feel like Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered was not only a good deal at a good price, it was a good collection.
Yeah.
And everyone seemed to be pretty happy with it, so that was cool to see.
Asper and Embracer, Crystal Dynamics, whoever it was, they hired fans that had already made fan mods to make the games work on modern hardware to implement it. So it was basically already the fan project that's open source, just turned into a commercial project. And they did the same thing with Soul Reaver as well. So props to them for that.
Retro Game Challenge 1+2 Replay on Switch came out only in Japan because they fucking hate us.
Yeah.
For anyone that hasn't played Retro Game Challenge on DS or the fan translation of the sequel, go play them. They're fantastic.
Yes, they're so
good. Star Wars Battlefront Classic came out that had some drama connected to it. Sunsoft came back and released the Sunsoft is Back Retro Game Selection. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door got a re-release. The new Wizardry came out. Baten Kaitos came back.
Remake of the first Wizardry?
Yeah, it's a remake of the first episode of Wizardry. Yeah. And presumably they'll because I think the first, like in air quotes, Wizardry is separated into 3 episodes. SNK vs. Capcom SVC Chaos came out, and I had major problems with the PC version. Doom 1 and 2 Enhanced came out, which are really good versions of Doom. Age of Mythology Retold, I played a good chunk of that when it came out. It came out at a good price, fun, really good game. Castlevania Dominus Collection also sort of surprise dropped. It was kind of out of nowhere. Another big one this year. Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters hit Xbox, which we covered in our episodes. Tetris Forever, pretty recent, along with Warcraft 1 and 2, which are both cool collections to see. Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic on Switch, if you hate controlling games. I don't know. Cho Aniki Collection on Switch, is that out yet?
I think it's about to come out.
I like Cho Aniki.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited.
You skipped past Rocket Knight Adventures, which is
did I?
Exciting ones.
No, go ahead.
I'm a huge fan of Rocket Knight Adventures, and that's a good collection too. I played through that on my PS5.
As far as games of the year, because I left mine blank because I wasn't sure exactly what's going to be on my list. So I'm gonna let you go first while I mentally I think I know what it is.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna let you go first.
I feel like mine is pretty easy this year. Balatro has got to be up there.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest 3 remaster is good. I'll put that up there. But Silent Hill 2 has to take my top spot. That was just such a excellent, perfectly made remaster. Of all the stuff that has come out this year, that has been the one that has been the most impressive to me. So I got to give it the top spot.
Balatro for me is in the list for sure. It's just so damn good.
My runner-up is probably Astrobot because, man, that was a good game.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
Well,
it could just be recency bias, but Caves of Cud is really, really up there for me. Really happy with the 1.0 release, really currently enjoying it. But I think I've got a good 50 hours in Balatro.
Yeah.
That's got to be my game of the year. It has to be. It's there for me. It's the there for me game. It's when I sit down and I'm like, fuck, I got to play such and such for the show, or I was going to do this, or maybe I'll boot up 14, but I don't know, and I got to log in, do all that shit, and I'm like, yeah, just play Balatro. And it is such just a joyful game that fucking hates my guts. The game hates me.
Yeah, it is.
But it's got to be
good,
Balatro for me.
I've played a ludicrous amount of Balatro this year between my Xbox and Steam, and now my phone as well, which that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that.
I would love to put Age of Mythology on my list, but I just didn't play enough of it for me to really like the idea of it outshining Balatro is silly to me because Balatro is what kind of dominated my playtime this year. Statistically, numbers wise, because we get the year in review thing or whatever, and like my most played Switch game this year was Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, and I clocked twice as many Balatro hours as I did on that, so it's got to take it from me.
I've been seeing a lot of people online who are very angry that Astrobot won at the Keeley Awards.
Oh, fuck them.
Because they feel like a platformer does not deserve it, because platformers should not be in the consideration.
Baby games.
Exactly.
You don't even lose your currency when you die. It's a game for infant children.
One of the comments I saw on it was like, even in their own acceptance speech, they acknowledged that they basically just copied the idea from Super Mario Brothers.
I'm sorry, what 9-year-old wrote this? Please tell me an adult man didn't write that, because
I can't say definitively. I'm not.
It's a failure of our education system.
Yeah.
Holy shit. As far as final thoughts, I'll say this. Despite all the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of doom and gloom. It is also, for people that don't follow, an election year in the U.S., so there's a lot of turmoil going on.
Non-game-related doom and gloom as well.
In industries and in life. A lot of people upset. A lot of people having problems. A lot of shit going on in the world. Multiple wars happening. Like, there's a lot of shit happening.
Yeah.
I do think we're, as far as, like, video games go, I think the future we all kind of wanted to see when like the Wii came out and the Virtual Console hit was everyone sort of unifying on a platform and just dumping their stuff there and making things available.
That is not happening.
Then I think we had a market-wide peeling away from that of companies going, oh, people will pay for this shit? No, take the fuck off that thing. We're going to make our own thing.
Yeah.
And I think we're sort of hitting an equilibrium.
Yeah.
We're hitting a point where companies are realizing that, like, no, we're not going to pay $70 for 3 Tomb Raider games, but if you release them at a budget price and do a decent job, we'll absolutely pay for that.
Right.
I think companies are kind of finding it, right? They're finding where that line is, and I think it's leading to a lot of really good HD collections, HD re-releases, and stuff like that are, for the most part, pretty solid. I mean, a lot of these collections, I can't remember the last one that we got that just felt like, oh, they just slapped a bunch of ROMs in a fucking thing and then stuffed it out there.
Collection.
Yeah. Well, and also I haven't played Sunsoft is Back. For all I know, that's all they did.
Well, it is just some ROMs, but they put some bonus stuff in there. Plus, it's games that were not translated the first time, so they
really like. So I think we're kind of exiting the realm of just lazy ROM compilations being the
norm.
Yeah, the norm of a lot of these companies, which I like. Capcom's always put out good collections, but they're putting out good stuff. We're just getting good collections and good remasters. I think that Digital Eclipse is we didn't even talk about like Llamasoft and the Jeff Minter story, or they're like Tetris Forever does this. It's their like documentary style compilations of these things. So when it is just a bunch of ROMs, they also make it kind of a documentary experience, a historical experience you can have. More than just like Konami being like, it's the 6 Gradius games and there's a menu, goodbye.
Yeah, which is unfortunately kind of how the Rocket Knight collection is. It at least gives you the different language modes and stuff like that, and save states, but not a lot of love in there.
So I think we're just product wise, obviously the industry's on fucking fire.
Yes.
But I think we're getting some good products. A lot of the people putting in the work at the ground level are there's still a lot of love.
Yeah.
And they're putting in a lot of work and generating good products. And please quit firing them.
One thing I will say that has been weird over the last couple of years, and I noticed it this year, is that the retro nostalgia bubble seems to be splitting, whereas a few years ago it was relatively narrowly focused on that late 80s, early 90s period where we had the NES Classic and the Genesis Mini and all that stuff all within a few years of each other. And a lot of the collections were also aimed at that era. And since then, it seems to have gone 2 different directions where the software-wise, things are moving towards the the late 90s era, the PS1 and 64 collections and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then hardware-wise, we're getting all these mini consoles of microcomputers and late 70s, early 80s stuff, which is very strange that it's like split in those two directions.
We've also seen a split. In 2024 is very much the year of the Chinese emulation handheld.
Yeah.
There's so many coming out, and not only so many coming out, so many really good ones.
Yeah.
That do a lot.
Yeah.
And it's sort of caused a little bit of balkanization of the like retro hobby, as far as people being like, well, the only way to play these games is a CRT with original hardware. And if you're not doing that, then fuck you.
Right.
There's a whole crop of new people getting interested, and I notice a lot of them are young people.
Yeah.
They say things like, well, I missed the boat on buying original hardware.
Right.
I was never around for CRTs, but I can afford a $40 emulation handheld that plays all this shit. And it's created a kind of a split in the market of people that are like, hey, we're just here to play the games.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to buy a fucking PVM, but like, I'll totally buy some shit that plays Super Nintendo to see what that's all about, which I think,
and we should be
I think
more
all this
welcoming of that.
diversification, is good. I think the market is bigger and more diverse than it's ever been. I think studios are responding slowly to it because that's how it works.
Right.
I also think we're in a wonderful state as far as like boutique, bespoke, retro accessories and devices, which I think we'll really talk more about next episode.
Also, one thing I did not do in here is include a ton of retro-specific news. Which, one, because we cover it every week.
True.
And two, if you haven't been there, the Time Extension website, which is relatively new within the last few years, does just a phenomenal job, almost exclusively focusing on news related to retro gaming and stuff like that. So it is, there's just been so much of it this year that it would be impossible to cover all the different ROM hacks and fan mods and shit like that.
Totally.
But there's been a ton of great things that have happened.
There's also been a lot of me poorly transitioning to our Patreon at patreon.com/.
You forgot to mention that Guy is going to be here.
I'll mention that in a minute.
No, we need to mention it before because people turn it off as soon as you do the Patreon.
No, they're here for my transition, Saturn.
Turn it off.
Everyone's waiting with bated breath. They're like, any minute now, he's going to be like, you know what else is a good Mega Man game? I don't know why that's my impression of myself. I already sound like myself.
But so I'm glad you covered that.
Like Bobcat Goldthwait if he got punched in the throat.
Yep.
Welcome to the show. So Guy's going to be here, so stay tuned after the ending theme, but also stay tuned for this segue to our ad for our Patreon, patreon.com/Retro Warriors. We've had so many wonderful people hang out in a Discord with us, talk to us about stuff, listen to our shows. We've got Talking Wizards. We've got Read Along where you can come read magazines with us. It's a good time. We for people that just listen to the regular show, you get a good 10 to 30 minutes of additional us talking, mostly with Guy, before every episode if you get the uncut versions of the show.
Usually about nonsense.
I record 7 podcasts a month. 4 of them hit the public feed, between 2 episodes Talking Wizards, and we do Read Along every month. Like we're putting out a lot of show. So if you like the show,
the 2 podcasts you just do and never release to anybody.
Right, those are mine. Those are from me. I listen to them and I laugh.
Yeah.
So we're putting out a lot of hours of audio.
Yeah, that's true.
That's available on the Patreon. There are so many hours of me talking. There's kind of an alarming amount of recorded hours of me talking.
Yeah, you're going to train an AI someday on how to stammer.
More than there should be. A lot more hours. We want to thank our following patrons for the money that they gave us and for being so kind. So very kind. Starting with Jordan Eash.
And Shane Lee.
Matthew Garreau.
James Marks.
Discraft.
Ramoon.
Spooky Dookie.
Idiot Man.
Mick Grew.
And Vega.
All gave us money. And I have the receipts.
Vega from Street Fighter.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. They all gave us money, and I have the receipts and tax documents to prove it. So don't come at me, okay? Because I keep my receipts. I don't know what the fuck, where we're fucking going with this. We got to end the show. Stay tuned after the ending theme. Guys going to be here for the after party. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let us cling together. Hi, welcome to the after party with the guy. Don't do that, Saturn. We need to record.
Okay.
We need to record this. Hi, guy. Hi. Hello.
Hi, I'm really glad that Spooky Dookie is catching on.
I thought that was a you. I thought that was a guyism. I couldn't remember, but I thought Spooky Dookie was. So
I didn't make it up, but I feel like I introduced it to this crowd of people.
Right.
Yeah,
You experience a lot of Spooky Dookies.
I wouldn't say
life.
a lot. I know the definition.
Daily occurrence or would...
What? No.
Hourly.
Okay. All right.
It's more of a when I'm backed up kind of thing.
Oh, I see. I see.
Hi,
How's it
guys.
going?
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Already
Right
threw
there.
you off.
At the end of the year, this is your last guy segment of
Yeah.
2024.
It
How was
is.
2024 for you?
2024 is all right. Went to
Okay.
EDC. The Stars went to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. Are they not allowed most of the time?
They don't make it most of the time. Only 4 teams in the league make it
They
every.
don't got
they're
like
invited,
a
they
bus
just
or
can't get
whatever
the
to take
bus.
them, or yeah.
Well, they don't. They don't beat the other teams to get there. So
You got to
Yeah.
beat people.
With hockey sticks.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
all right. Yeah,
you know,
that makes
hockey is a pretty
they beat 'em
contacty
up.
sport. So
Yeah. Okay. All right.
it's not
yeah.
entirely untrue. No, despite your
Yeah.
troll attempts.
Why?
Sirs.
No, literally, they do beat them with hockey sticks, not physically, just by playing the game.
Why do they not attack them while the other team is still on the bus and defenseless? Why do they wait until they're out onto the hockey ice?
You know, you may have just uncovered a new strategy. You should go be a hockey coach.
I feel like this is an Air Bud moment where they're like, the rules don't say a dog can't play basketball.
I'm pretty sure the rules do say like you can't go fucking beat people, assault people on their bus.
What they should do.
I mean, not the hockey rules, just like, government rules.
I'm just glad that we get to gaslight you about hockey one more time before the year is out.
You know how much you hate it. So
It's
I don't
been a
hate
minute.
it. I just enjoy the bad jokes. I want to see a sport where somebody is allowed to just have as many players on their team as they can manage to find.
Mm-hmm.
And so whoever has the most players just crowds out the other team from even being able to play, and they by default win. That's the sport.
I think what you've described is a riot.
Oh, right. Yeah, that.
or like, medieval warfare too.
yeah, that as well. That's absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to my first board game / RPG convention.
Oh yeah, that was your first con. I know I mentioned it on the show. I guess kind of forgot since then. But yeah, that was your first.
Yeah,
we
since
talked
a
about
month
it.
ago. Good job.
Yeah, that's out of my memory. That's too long ago. It's might as well be ancient history.
Yeah,
Live in the now, says the man hosting a retro video game podcast.
Justin Justin hates hockey for the uninitiated. Justin hates hockey because it takes his time away from me, which is like the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
But,
I hate it. I hate it because it's 3 months of guy going, I might be there, and then me going, fuck. And that's
now
that's
it's extended into December, right? Like we're planning, or Justin's planning is like mid-year con, I guess.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, my second convention. I do 3 a year. I'm planning my May convention. We're doing Chupacabra Con 11 or 12 or whatever down in San Marcos.
Yeah, I guess con is convention, not confidence game. Just so y'all are
Could be
up to
both.
speed.
I don't know. I've never been.
That is true. But I already told him like it's right in that period of time that's like towards the end of the playoffs.
Immediately like, maybe.
That's a hard maybe for me.
Me and Andrew got tickets. We got a hotel booked. We're ready to rock. And guys like, no, no. Depends on how a bunch of random fucking guys on skates do.
You dickheads like reserved your spot and like planned your shit right in front of me. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not included in your plans.
Well, so here's the thing. I told Andrew after last convention, I was like, hey, I think moving forward, because we always share. We share a hotel room. This last time we all shared an Airbnb. And I was like, I think I'm going to stay by myself because I need, it's hard to explain. Like, I like being around people. I like being around y'all. But then I need my time that's not around other people.
Yes.
Like, I need that.
I'm with you.
And I realized that I end up in these kind of higher states of, anxiety and tension at these conventions because there's nowhere I can go. I'm sharing a hotel room or whatever. Like, I'm just always around people. And the only time I get to me is when I go in my room and shut my door and lay in whatever bed. And in a hotel room, you don't even get that. You're laying next to the other person.
Yeah.
And so I was telling Andrew, like, very nice. I was like, I love you, you know, but like, I just kind of want like my own space, because it's 10, 12 hours of being at a table with 4 or 5 people talking, and you wear yourself out. And he's like, all right, that's totally cool. I understand, you know, like, it makes sense. And then he always books everything early. So the guy that runs the local RPG group to DFW tagged me and was like, hey, do you want to tag your crew about ChupaCabraCon if you're coming? And I was like, well, I'm coming. So I tag y'all. And Andrew's immediately like booking it. And he's like, it's this much money. It's like $800 if you want to stay by yourself. And I was like, no, we'll split. And so then it turned into both of us planning it together, but that was not the intent. I was going to wait, but he was already booking it. And I was like, I want to stay by myself, but I don't $800 want to stay by myself. Like,
yeah, well, now I'm going to $800 stay by myself, I guess. So
yeah, there you go. You could, we've got a suite. You can stay with us. We got an air mattress.
Yeah, I might. Well, so my plan, just to tell you how much I care about hanging out with my friends. I don't know. This could go both ways, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it. But my plan is to reserve the hotel because it's refundable up to a day before the thing.
Yeah.
And buy my ticket like, this week, right?
Yeah.
And then if hockey gets in the way, then I'll just cancel the hotel and be out the price of my ticket, and that's my punishment for canceling plans on my friends.
I didn't even realize you were planning to go to it. So that's my fault. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm never sure, because like I don't want to be the guy that's push anybody anything, you know. And I know some people are like totally love conventions, and other people are like, nah, I don't want to fucking do that ever. That sounds horrible. I also know people that are like, oh, I love playing D&D with my friends. Then I'm like, hey, do you want to come play with these people? And they're like, they're not my friends. I don't want to play with them. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that it had to be with people you're like already close and personal friends with. And for some people, that is the case. They're like, I don't want to do this with anybody else.
Yeah, I'm more in that category, but
totally,
like,
yeah.
For a convention that like you're going to and Andrew's going to, then it becomes I'm gonna go hang out with my friends for 3 days.
Yeah.
And you know, the game is sort of an ancillary thing and another excuse to hang out and something to do while we're hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'm definitely like looking forward to it and hoping there's not a hockey game that weekend in town.
This could also go either way, but it is not that for me. Like, I'm there to game primarily. This is what I'm like. Hanging out with y'all is great. That's a cool secondary thing that occurs. But I'm here for the game. Like, if y'all didn't go, I'd still go. Like, my first con, I went by myself.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm there to play games. I think this is also going to be the one next year that I run games at. So, like, I'm like, yes, I want to pack in 20 hours of gaming in 3 days and like get my fill my cup, as it were. And so it's just a little, you know, I think Andrew's kind of more in your camp where he's like, I just love going and hang. He's like, I like the games, they're fun, but like I'm there to like hang out and have a good time. And I'm like, no, I'm here to game.
I'm here to game, not be lame.
That's what my shirt's gonna say at ChupaCabraCon. I'm here to game, not be lame.
You joke, but I'm gonna get you that shirt. That's good. You know what? That's your Christmas present. It's not gonna be at the Retro Warriors thing. The company party.
Our company party. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Have we decided when that is?
The 26th of December.
We haven't decided where it is.
All right.
No. I didn't want to force Guy. Guy, you hosted it last year, and I didn't want to be like, Guy, you'll do it.
Yeah, but, well, I'd be happy to do it. I know this is like getting into things people really don't care about, but like I'll be happy to do it. I think I don't have any problem not doing it, but I also didn't want to like force people to drive out here because it's also like we live in like a triangle, right?
Yeah, it's shitty all around. I don't know. Like I'm always happy to host stuff, but I'm such a fucking drive for everyone that I wouldn't. Because like you're driving to your house, you're still at least in civilization. My house is far, and also you're like scared that like you're gonna take a wrong turn and get shot. Like it's like real hillbilly out where I live.
Yeah, I'm like 30 minutes away from Andrew, probably 45 minutes from Saturn, and like an hour away from you. So like,
yeah, so I don't care.
I don't think it necessarily matters. I know you want to bring your wife and kid, and that's new information.
Would be nice. Yeah,
I was like,
my wife came last year.
It's true.
Did
was
she?
there.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, she came. Your wife was also there. She lives at your house.
I know she does, and I told her she's
Okay.
invited to the thing because I didn't realize like your family was coming. I was like, oh, okay, family, let's go.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have my kid, and finding a babysitter day after Christmas sucks. So we'll probably just drag her along, and she'll just sit there and pet your dogs.
All right, let me discuss with Kristen, and that's probably
Great.
a yes.
Personal plans made on air. We did
Perfect.
it.
Hooray.
Now, what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I
I always do this, right? Like every year, like you have me on at the end of the year, and I'm like, hey, that reminds me, I've been here.
When are we
another
hanging
year.
out? Yes. Yeah.
It's like this is 7th year, like 350 some odd episodes.
Yep.
I'm excited for this year's Christmas. People that don't know, I buy Christmas presents for everyone on staff, and they're always themed. So it's like a cohesive. They're all together themed.
Okay.
And I'm excited about this year's theme.
I got you guys gifts as well, but one of the things that I got for Guy has not arrived yet, so I'm starting to stress about it.
Uh-oh.
That's right. I haven't gotten anybody anything, and I can't think of anything. And like, you know what my best memory of our fucking like parties is? Is this your fucking cat? It has nothing to do with gifts or hanging out or nothing. It's the dumbass drawing with the dumb caption.
What's that Jackbox game called? Drawful?
Drawful. And somebody had drawn Pikachu with a dick, and the caption for it was, "Is this your fucking cat?"
And I feel like there was like a shit on there too or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was,
Oh, I think. What did I draw it?
Maybe.
probably.
If it was a big dick Pikachu with a poop next to it, that feels like me.
Yeah, I believe that.
It feels like a me drawing because that's as lowbrow. Like, how are you making funny? Put a dick and the poop on it.
Yeah.
That's just stupid enough.
Solid. That was a good one.
I regret not ordering that shirt.
Right?
Me too.
I wish. And in the moment, I was like, I don't know, but now I'm like, God, I wish I fucking had that. That would be so funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one.
My favorite moment from our company Christmas was that fucking meat Saturn made that one year. We had it at Saturn's place, and it was like, what was it?
Oh,
it was like a
barbacoa, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so good.
Was it?
It was amazing. Oh, I still think about it. I still think about being like, Saturn, make me barbacoa, and I'll come over and eat it. It's like, man. If you just texted me and you're like, I'm having barbacoa, I'd be there. Like,
I might have
family
to
in
make
tow.
some.
I don't care. Whatever. I'd totally be there.
I could bring that somewhere too if needed. That's
Oh
the
my
thing.
God, it was great. You can bring it to Guy's house. His wife lives there.
I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
What?
Fuck, I might have to see if I can find a turkey at the store too.
Yeah.
I got you guys gifts this year because I felt bad that I hadn't in the last couple of years because I wasn't in the shape to do so. But
That's why I always call it company Christmas, so that it's Retro Warriors gives you all gifts,
Right.
but you aren't. It's not me. I'm not giving you a gift.
So
You're not obligated to me.
I wanted to find some gift bags to put you guys gifts in, and when I went to the local place that I would normally get that kind of stuff from, the local grocery store, they had sold out of all the like not super religious Christmas bags. And I was like, well, I can't get them just like super religious Christmas bags. So I got one purple bag for Guy, and I got a Happy Hanukkah bag, and I got a Congratulations Class of 2024 bag, and a Happy Anniversary bag.
That's amazing.
I felt like that was the best possible way to.
I feel like the person checking you out was like, this guy's got a packed fucking month, man. Christmas, someone's got an anniversary, someone's graduating in December. This is crazy.
Right?
Crazy. One guy's purple.
I
This
didn't
is
buy
crazy
any Christmas
month.
bags, just the Hanukkah bag. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for it. It'll be fun. You had an actual thing.
Yeah, no, okay. So I've been here for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Which is insane. At this point, you know, it's like I was saying earlier. Like my house has been in our family for 40 years, and that's like a fifth of the United States' history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like at this point, I've been around for 350 episodes. That is a large chunk of all the episodes ever done.
Most of them, yeah. Most of them.
So that's kind of cool. And like I remember that first year I came in, and like the second or third episode, I was like, "Hey, you guys want to talk about mental health?" And you're like, "No." I don't feel qualified.
What?
I don't feel qualified to talk about that sort of thing.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, I could see us being like, I don't know that we're the guys to fucking do that. Yeah.
But you've gone from there to where you're at now, which is amazing to me. And like, I love seeing. I guess growth is the right word, but like also a comfort in using your platform to talk about things that are personal to you, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool, and I like that y'all do that. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback about from people in Discord about that message and how
especially in the last couple of weeks. Very
nice. And how much people appreciate that. So I just
I had to have a after having that PSA, I had to have that discussion with someone in my life. And I got to come out of the gate with, here's all these numbers and hotlines and information and stuff. And I felt so prepared to have this discussion. So it was like a dry run for having that discussion in real life. So that I mean, it wasn't a nice spot to have that discussion, but, it was nice to be prepared for it.
No, it's great that you do that. And I just, and I think that there, not to take away from that message by any means, there's also a swath of people that like don't get Christmas and like holiday depression, right?
Sure, totally, yeah. And like, some people are like, what do you mean? It's the happiest time of year. Like, yeah.
Right, good on them for that. And I guess good on me. Like I suffer from like anxiety and depression, but like it's not focused around the holiday season, right?
Yeah.
It's just sort of rando in general.
Yeah, the regular kind.
The regular kind of depression.
Vanilla depression.
Right. And so that got me to thinking about like, what can people who love Christmas do to support their friends who don't, right? Because like I know like you, Justin, don't like Christmas at all.
No, I don't.
But you like Christmas itself, but not everything that surrounds it.
I like getting up on Christmas morning, get to hang out with my wife and kid. They open presents. They're like, that's fun. But that's like the littlest slip. That's like 4 hours of a 2-month holiday. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, my wife doesn't like anything that acknowledges she exists, I guess, to a certain extent.
Something to process. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Christmas, like with the forced gift giving and like having to see your family and stuff like that, the
obligation of it all.
Yeah. That becomes a problem. And like, she also doesn't like her birthday or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to round out to is just, if you don't feel like the blues about Christmas and holidays or occasions that, celebratory occasions, if that's just sort of normal and you're happy about it and you love it, et cetera, like the best thing you can do is just let the people who don't just exist and don't try and force them to be happy or prove to them in some way that Christmas is this great time that they're missing out on or whatever, just let sit with it and empathize and understand and say, hey, that's fine. And I'm here for you or whatever, whatever that conversation is, but don't try and make them like the holiday. That's never going to work.
Yeah, that's not the way.
Well, and I've said it before on the show. It's like you tell people you don't like Christmas, and it's like telling people that ask what you're doing on Friday night that you're just going to sit at home and watch TV.
Yeah,
like, what do you mean you? What do you mean you do it? And you're like, I'm allowed. Yeah. I'm allowed to be this way.
Yeah,
and you should just be like, oh, okay. I didn't know you weren't into that.
Well, I mean, most people are allowed. You're specifically not.
Me, I'm not. All right, that explains so much. Don't call them Grinches. Yeah. Don't, in my house, it's like, we have fun with it. Like, my daughter loves How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Mm-hmm. And she reads it a bunch of times around the holidays and wants me to read it to her. And like, I read it to her tonight and I was like, that book was great till the shitty ending, so like I get to have fun. She knows I don't like Christmas.
Yeah.
And I get to, and I try to explain to her that I'm like, I love the parts where I get to spend more time with you and your mom, and we get to have our Christmas. I don't like the obligation, the running around, the busyness, there's
the rest
so
of the
much.
Family.
Yeah, the rest of everything. It's just so much. Although this year, we've only got 4 Christmases we're attending this year. We had 5 on the docket. One of them we didn't go to, so we were only going to 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, no, we're going to 5. So we had 6 on the docket. So we're only going to 5. So this year has actually been pretty good for us in that regard.
I just do the one with you guys and the one with my direct family. That's it. That's all I do.
We normally have 8 to 10.
Ooh,
why?
That's a lot.
Well, my parents are divorced. You can't when you have a child.
Oh, you
Guy knows
can.
this. We know. See, here's the thing: you can, but the fallout from you keeping your child from this family event is so much worse than just sucking it
The
up and
secret
going to
is
the thing.
To end contact with all those people.
You know, you reach a point where you're like, I'm cutting off contact with my whole family because they desperately want me in their life. So
Yeah.
who's the asshole here? And that
them.
doesn't help. That doesn't help with the whole self-image thing. It's just a tough road to walk, man. When you
I
got a
hear
kid, people are like, "Well, you're going to bring him around for Christmas, right?" And you're like, "What? You didn't even see him the rest of the year. Why do you fucking care if you see him at
Right.
Christmas?" And they're like, "No, but they got to see their family. They got to know them." And I'm like, "Why? I don't
I
talk
only
to
ever
you
saw-
people."
I only ever saw my extended family, like my parents' siblings and my grandparents and stuff, at the holidays, and very, very, very rarely we would like meet one other time of the year for like Mother's Day or something. But that
Yeah,
was
that's
that was
about
about
the
it.
same
It was
for me.
Maybe
Yeah.
twice a year that I would see any of these people, and I still had like mostly fond memories of them going into adulthood. It was only after I became an adult and started speaking to them as an adult that I lost all interest in speaking with most of them.
What gets me is the holiday guilt trips.
Mm.
You see people you don't
Yeah.
see throughout the year, and you get the guilt trip, and you're like, "Motherfucker, your phone has buttons too."
Yep.
I finally spoke back to my aunt about that the last time I saw her a few weeks ago. She was like, "Oh, you
Mhm.
never see us." I was like, "You never see me either."
Yeah.
And I have not heard you once say you wanted to come over to my place. I've not heard you show up in my part of town. So just
Every time
saying.
I see my dad's side of the family, it's guilt trips or comments about how like you're never around or whatever. Half of them I'm like, dude, I don't even have your phone number, and I know you got mine, or at the very least, my dad's, because he's your brother.
Right.
You could reach out.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I don't remember you. You do remember me.
Yeah.
If anyone should be reaching out, you should be. It's the impetus is on you.
Yeah.
But it's a two-way street, man. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just getting into why the holidays annoy me now. Guy had a very salient and kind point about the emotional journey the show has been on,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that.
We do.
But yeah, it's tough, you know. A lot of times people just want to feel validated. They just want someone to be like, "Yeah, I get that." Like, you don't have to be like, "I agree," or and you just be like, "Totally, I get those complaints. Those all make sense." We just want to feel validated that.
Yeah.
that
And I think that's
all
it.
it
If somebody's explicitly like, "No, don't get me a present," then don't get them a present. If somebody's just generally like, "I don't like holidays," then get them a present and tell them you don't have to get me anything, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are ways to be supportive and be an ally for people who are generally this is such a weird thing to say are generally like ostracized because they don't go with the flow of what society says, right?
Right. Yeah.
And like I feel like not liking holidays is a very low stakes version of that.
Totally. Yeah.
But that's generally true. Like how do you be an ally to your friends who aren't representing the norms, quote unquote, of the population, right?
Yeah, it's yeah. I think it's just being aware and letting people be themselves, and it's frustrating that there's this impetus of like what you're supposed to like.
What do you mean
And
you
how
don't
you're
like
supposed to-
cheese?
It's yeah.
Okay, that one I do have questions.
Guy does not
Everybody
like cheese.
has questions. It's a nonstop. It's a thing all my life, man.
That's totally fine. That just means more cheese for the rest of us. I don't see why anybody would have a problem with that.
There you go.
they're just incredulous.
I'm off the cheese. I'm trying to watch my cholesterol. I had to give up cheese or chocolate, and I mean, how do you fucking decide, right?
Yeah,
It's like, which of my
I don't
children
want
hanging
to,
off
but I
a
would-
cliff do I want to save?
I wouldn't want to, but I would have to choose chocolate in that scenario, whether
Oh, no.
whether I like it or not. That's the one that I would have to get rid of, because cheese I can stop eating, chocolate I can't. And so if I have to stop eating one, it has to be chocolate.
Nope. Keeping the chocolate. I'm keeping it. They can
Can't.
pry it out of my cold, dead, fat fingers. It's mine.
If I
I
let
will
myself
keep
have
it.
chocolate, I won't stop. I'll eat an entire bag at once every time.
Yeah,
I want a
it's
bag of
tough.
chocolate. That sounds good, actually.
I also want a bag of chocolate. We should end the show. Thank you so much for listening to the show, Guy. Thanks for producing the show.
Indeed.
I think this is our first episode of the new year. This is our last
Yeah, this is our
episode in
last
December.
episode of December, yes.
So hopefully you had a good holiday season, and if you didn't, then it's almost over. Look at that. You
Yeah.
made it to the end
You
of
just
the
have to
show
make it through
and
New
December.
Year's, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, make Make it through New Year's. It's going to be fine.
Yep.
You got like 2 more days.
And whenever people go, what are you doing for New Year's Eve? And you go, I'm just going to sit at home and watch Netflix. And they try to make you feel bad about it. You tell them Justin said, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want on
And
New
if they
Year's
ask who
Eve.
Justin is, just say fuck you again.
Yeah. Take that, society. Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.